ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So now we are coming to almost the end of the first Mundaka of the first session of the third Mundaka, because there are actually 3 Mundakas, that means 3 chapters with 2 sections each. We are coming to the end of the first section, of the, first section of the third Mundaka. Now, what is being talked about here is that the sadhanas that are necessary for one to understand this subtle Brahman, that was talked about. Satyam, etc., Brahmacharyam, all that we saw was talked about. And ultimately, in the last 2 or 3 verses, again, the subtlety of this Atma is being talked about now. The subtlety of this Atma, subtlety of Brahman, that which we have to understand. Brahman or Atma is the Gneyam, that which is necessary for us to be understood, for us to get out of this, samsara. And unfortunately, that Atman or Brahman, being the subtlest of the subtle, that which is all pervading, that which is the content of everything, and that which is the very content of me also, the very Sakshi I also, it is not possible for me to comprehend this Brahman as an object of my perception. Because what happens is, all the objects that we see, or all the objects that we transact with, or all the objects that we perceive are gross Panchabhautika objects. The whole Jagat is Panchabhautika. Therefore, it is possible for this Panchabhautika sense organs and also the mind to comprehend these Panchabhautika objects of the world. But here, what we are dealing with is that which is not a Panchabhautika, Atma or Brahman, which is the very cause of those Panchabhutas. Atma or Brahman is not a Bhautika Vastu. Abhautika means it is not an element or an elemental. It is the very cause of all the elements. That is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi. By their various combinations, they are going to give rise to various objects of this Jagat. And it's only the Panchabhautika Prapancha that our body, mind, sense complex can perceive. That which is not an object of perception, the Atma or Brahman, is not an object of perception because it is not Panchabhautika. It is not one or the combination of any of the elements. Actually, it is the very cause of all these elements. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that it cannot be burnt by fire, it cannot be wet by water, it cannot be dried by wind. Why? Because Atma or Brahman is the very cause, the very karanam of all these things. And that is why in the 8th verse, which we completed last time, 3:1, that is third Mundaka, first section, 8th verse, we saw that na chakshusha grihyate napi vacha. This Brahman is not a Panchabhautika object which can be seen as a form or as a color by the eye. Na chakshusha grahyate. We have already seen that, but I'm just summarizing it before I go to the next verse to give a connection to where we stopped last time. Napi vacha. Even the words cannot describe. What can you describe? You can describe something which another person is able to see or experience. Napi vacha. It cannot be described by even words. Then what are we doing here? What are we studying here? What is the Shruti doing? The Shruti is using words only. But how is the Shruti using the words? The words are used in such a way that we understand that what we are trying to understand is not an object of perception, but the very subject itself or the subject myself. And Shruti or the Upanishads have a way of conveying it through words. And this is what we have seen in all these 3 years. How the Shruti has conveyed what this Atman is with words only. Now, Mundakopanishad, 66 verses it has got to convey this Brahman. Katopanishad had 100 verses to convey all the what this Brahman is. So we have seen earlier also in what all words, in what all ways the Upanishads or the Shruti convey the, the what you call the Swarupam of this Atma Swarupam. And so he says, Na anya daivaihi tapasa karmana va. So he says, neither other sense organs, not only the eyes, not only the words, but no other sense complex and grasp it as what? As an object. Then how should I understand it? I should understand it as the very consciousness behind all the sense organs, because of which all the sense organs are doing their duties. Na tapasa na karmana va. By any amount of karma, Vaidika karma or Laukika karma, or by any kind of a upasana or tapas, it is not possible to understand this. But does it mean that karma and upasana are useless? No. Already, always, the Shruti says that karma is necessary for chitta shuddhi, upasana is necessary for chitta naischalyam, but ultimately what gives this understanding is the knowledge of the Shruti. So he says in the next line, Jnana prasadena vishuddha sattvaha tatastutam pashyate. Jnana prasadena. By the very blessing of this Upanishad Jnanam, Vishuddha Sattvaha, a person who's prepared, a person whose intellect is prepared by karma and upasana, such a Vishuddha Sattvaha, that is such a Vishuddha Sattva, that is a person who has got this intellect ready for this knowledge, gets to understand this Brahman, what this Brahman is, what its Swarupam is. Jnana prasadena eva, by only the grace of this knowledge, the grace of the Upanishadic knowledge. Tataha tu tam pashyate nishkalam dhyayamanaha. This mumukshu dhyayamanaha, the one who is making an effort to understand this dhyayamanaha, jnana prasadena eva pashyate tat. That is what that means. What? Brahma. Nishkalam Brahma pashyate. He sees the Nishkalam Brahma. Then in the next verse, we'll see the next verse, the 9th verse, which is a continuation of this. What does he say here? येषो अणुः आत्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वम् ओतं प्रजानां यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा. So what is the meaning of this? He says, Yeshaha anuhu atma. This Atma, which is subtler than the subtlest, Anuhu means subtle. We use Anu for atom also. Anu here means the subtle as an atom, which cannot be seen by any means. There are so many other means because Anu or atom still happens to be an object of perception. But here, Yeshaha Anuhu Atma. How do you know it then? How do you understand? Chetasa Veditaiva. Only by this intellect, from the words of the Shruti, it can be understood. It cannot be understood by any other means. That's why we saw in Kathopanishad also, Manasa eva idam aptavyam. Manasa eva idam atma, idam brahma aptavyam. This Brahman can be understood only by a well prepared intellect. Yeshaha anuhu atma chetasa veditavyaha. Yasmin pranaha panchada samvivesha. Where is this chetasa, chetas, or this buddhi present? It is present in this body in which the fivefold prana also is present. The air outside is called as Vayu. When it enters into the body, the same Vayu gets converted into fivefold pranas. So, where is this Chetas or this intellect that found? It is also found in this very physical body. In this very physical body, where all the five pranas and the entire Sukshma Sharira is located. Now, what is the meaning of Chit? What is the meaning of this? What is it that he is trying to say? The Upanishad Guru Angiras, what is he trying to say? If you want to understand this Atman or Brahman, please do it when you are alive, because this understanding can be done only in now as a human being, when you are alive, and when you are away. Okay, in the waking state only, in the Jagrad Avastha only, by exposing this intellect to the Guru and the Shastra alone, this Brahman can be understood very clearly. And what kind of a chetas it should be, what kind of a sattva or what kind of a intellect it should be, Shuddha Sattvaha. That sattvaha or that buddhi which is absolutely made subtle by karma yoga and upasana yoga and mature by following the amanitvadi values. Such a prepared intellect, an uttama adhikari with a prepared intellect, is the only one who can actually grasp the meaning of it, of what this Brahman is, by the Jnana Prasada of the Upanishadic Pramana or teaching. And where is this situated? That where that instrument of understanding? It is there in this body itself. And in this body, where it is associated with the Pancha Pranas and rest of the Sukshma Shariras. Pranais Chittam Sarvam Otam Prajanam. Pranaihi Chittam Otam means in this body, in this gross body, the subtle body with the intellect and the prana, it is Otam. Otam means what? It is full of, or it is pervading the Sukshma Sharira, which is nothing but the mind and the prana and the sense organs, which is pervading the entire physical body. Therefore, it is that, one should not wait for one to die and go later and learn somewhere. No, it is not possible. Somebody said, I'll go to Brahmaloka and learn this knowledge there. To go to Brahmaloka, is it that easy? We have seen in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita how a yogi has to, really what he has to do to go via the traveling body, for this traveling jiva to go via Shuklagati to Brahmaloka for Krama Mukti. We have this life, we have this chance, we have this opportunity, this body in which a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari intellect is there. And if I don't get this knowledge now, if I am not able to understand or grasp this now, when am I going to get it? Okay? Ihached avedi mahati vinashti. Kenopanishad says that this is the place, this is the life, this is the body, this is the intellect in which you have to understand this. If you don't utilize this life, mahati vinashti, great is your loss. Okay. At the same time, Kathopanishad also says, Drishyate tu agraya buddhya. Okay, sukshmaya sukshmadarshibihi. This knowledge, this Brahman, it's not really something which is difficult to understand because it is me myself. It is so natural that I should know who I am. But I have made it so difficult for myself, though I am that Atma, I am that Brahman, because of my entanglement with the world outside, because of my outgoing mind and sense organs all the time outside towards the world. My intellect is so gross that I am not able to see myself as nothing but the subtle Brahman. So that's why in Kathopanishad it says, Drishyate tu agraya buddhya. A buddhi which is sharp, sukshmaya, sukshmadarshi. One has to be a sukshmadarshi. One has to have the subtlety of the intellect to understand what the Vedas are talking about. Because the Vedas, the Upanishads are talking about the most subtle thing in this world, but that which is everywhere. Most subtle thing, but that which invigorates everything. The subtlest thing in the Jagat without which nothing can survive, and that is me. I am that Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. That is what is to be known here. And therefore he says, Pranais Chittam Sarvam Otam Prajanam. Where is this, Chetasa Veditavyam? Where is this, Buddhi there? It is there in all prajas, in all the buddhis, in all the jivas. This Buddhi is there, found in this Sthula Sharira. Therefore, this Sthula Sharira is a vehicle for this knowledge. This Sthula Sharira is vehicle for all the sadhanas. That is why our Upanishads say that let there be discipline in your body, but do not try to torture the body, because this body's health of this body is absolutely necessary. Because it is in this body, in this intellect, that I, the Dhyaya Manaha Vishuddha Sattvaha, have to understand this Brahman as nothing but myself. That is why in the Shanti Pata we said, Bhadrang karne bishrunuyama devaha, sthiraihi angaihi tushtuvagumsastanubhihi. Let us have the strength of the body and a healthy body to see that this Upanishadic statements or teaching is understood. Yasmin vishuddhe vibhavatyesha atma. In this Vishuddha Sattva, in this prepared intellect of an Uttama Adhikari, an intellect which is absolutely, clearly, well prepared by Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and all the values, in such an intellect, it is only such an intellect in which this Atma is able to reveal itself. Yasmin Vishuddhe Bhavati Yesha Vibhavati Yesha Atma. Vibhavati means what? It reveals itself. It shines. It's shining in everybody's heart. All of us are Atmas. Atma Chaitanyam, Sakshi Chaitanya Atma is shining in every jiva. But I do not know that consciousness behind me, the seer, that consciousness behind me, the listener, that consciousness behind me, the doer, that consciousness behind me, the ahankara, which says, I am the doer, I am the doer, I have to experience. That consciousness is nothing but me. That is the real me. This ahankara is not the real me. The karta is not the real me. The bhokta is not the real me. The seer is not the real me. It is the Atma through all these which makes this body mind sense complex interact with the Jagat outside. So Atma reveals itself in a prepared intellect. Vibhavati yesha Atma yasmin vishuddhe. Okay, when this mind is rendered pure, chitta shuddhi, chitta naischalyam, mature with all the values, amanitvam, adambitvam, etc., the 21 values given by Lord Krishna in the 13th chapter. When such a prepared mind is available, what happens? The self or the Atma reveals itself. It is already revealing itself. Ahamasmi, ahamasmi iti, constantly the Atma is revealing itself. But the problem in me is that I'm so lost, engrossed in the gross world outside, that this subtle ahamasmi, this Puranam is not available for me. I know. That is something which I cannot neglect or deny. But that aham asmi, it is Puranam. This revelation itself is that Atma iti, I do not know. This is what the Upanishads have to tell me. Therefore, here in these two verses, the importance of a Shuddha Sattva is being talked about. Shuddha Sattva means what? Shuddha Sattva means the one, who has the prepared intellect for this knowledge. Then we have the next verse now, the 10th verse, which is actually the last verse of this section, section 1 of Mundaka 3. And then here it gives the glory of a Jnanmukta. All we saw in the previous verses, for the person to whom this Atma reveals itself, Ahamasmi, that is that I am that Atma. I am the one which is the Adhishtanam of everything around. I am the one which is all pervading and available as the consciousness in every being, as the Satta in every object. I, the consciousness, is the Satta Pradayaka, Spurthi Pradayaka of everything that is there in this Jagat. This knowledge, this person who understands himself to be that all pervading Brahman, Atma, now such a person is called as a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Yeva Muktaha. Jivan Mukti. Such a person does not have any kind of a sorrow, shoka, moha, vita, raga, bhaya, krodha, sthitadir muniruchyate. Krishna said in Sthita Prajnanas, Lakshanas, vita, raga, bhaya, krodha, raga, shoka, moha, bhaya, they are not there. This, Jivan Mukta is living in the same world as you and I are living. His world does not change. His circumstances do not change. His role in the world does not change. Simply the attitude changes. What is the attitude? Whatever is there, whatever I'm seeing or facing or experiencing outside, this is nothing but mithya. I, the experiencer, Atma, is Satyam. All that which I am afflicted by are the afflictions only of the sthula sharira and sukshma sharira, and they are not real. They are agamapai, they are anitya. They come and they go. Therefore, nothing can touch this Jivan Mukta. No dukkha, no sukha. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayo. Okay? Dukkheshu anudvignamana sukheshu vigataspriha. All these are Bhagavad Gita second chapter verses, which we have already seen long, long, long ago. Now the end of this particular section, he glorifies this Sthita Prajna. What does he say? Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati Vishuddha sattvaha kamayate yanscha kaman tam tam lokam jayate tanscha kaman tasmad atmagnyam hyarchayed bhuti kamaha. So what Upanishad says is, this jnani is like Ishvara, because the jnani has not found any difference between himself and Ishvara. Only the upadhis are different. Ishvara has the whole Jagat and Maya as the upadhi. And I, this Jivan Mukta, have this small limited body mind sense complex as the upadhi. But in reality, Ishvara and me are not different from each other. Aham Brahmasmi. When he has understood that, it means a Jivan Mukta is Ishvara himself. All of us are Ishwaras. Don't think that we are not. We are Ajnanis and we don't know Aham Brahmasmiti, we don't know. That is the difference. Whereas a Jivan Mukta understands that he is Ishvara. Therefore, the Sarvajñatvam or the Sarvajña nature of Ishvara is very clearly seen in this person. And here, to glorify this Jivan Mukta, the Upanishad says that worshipping a Jivan Mukta is as good as worshipping Ishvara, or your Ishta Devata. Why? Because he says here, this whole Jagat belongs to this Brahmavit, or this person who knows Brahman Aham Brahmasmiti, or Jivan Mukta, like Ishvara. So he says, Yam Yam Lokam Manasa Samvibhati. Whatever a Jivan Mukta thinks of, whatever Yam Yam Lokam, Lokam is whatever he thinks of, anything. Here, Loka does not, Yam Yam Lokam does not mean, Lokam means world. The world with all its objects, its situations, people, whatever. Yam Yam Manasa, Manasa Samvibhati. Whatever a jnani thinks of, Vishuddha Sattvaha means a jnani, Kamayate yanscha kaman. If he desires anything. Now you may ask me, does a Jivan Mukta desire for anything? He may not have desire for himself, but a Jivan Mukta may desire something to be done for Loka Kalyana, like all our gurus are doing. They don't need anything. Whatever they're doing for us. For the Samaj, they are doing whatever they are doing. So, Yam Yam Lokam Manasa Samvibhati, whatever a Jivan Mukta thinks of, Kamayate Yanscha Kaman, desires whatever is needed, not for himself or herself, but for people around, for the ignorant people. Tam Tam Lokam Jayate Tanscha Kaman. This Jivan Mukta is capable of attaining what he wants. This Jivan Mukta is capable of getting what he wants. But we must understand that the Jivan Mukta is not doing anything for his sake. What he is doing is for the benefit of the society, Loka Kalyana. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Tasmad Atmagnyam hi archayet bhutikamaha. Bhutikamaha means what? A person who wants material benefits from this universe, an ajnani. I want some benefits from this universe. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. What do? The Upanishad says you can worship a jnani. It is as good as worshipping Ishvara, and you will get whatever you want. Okay, of course, there is something called prarabdha also, but the grace of a Jivan Mukta, the grace of a Jivan Mukta Guru, the blessings of a Jivan Mukta Guru can get us what we want. And the Guru, the Jivan Mukta Guru, knows what we need and what we don't need. And therefore, many times, whatever we want, we may not get because we may not need it. But what we really need, if there are any obstacles to that, if there are any obstructions to that, if there is something blocking that, a guru's, that is a Jivan Mukta Guru's grace and blessing can definitely get me that. That is why he's saying Bhutika Maha, means an Ajnani who is still interested in material benefits, tasmat, therefore, atmagnyam hi archayet. Atmagnyam, an atmagnani, or as who you call a jivan mukta, may you worship him. Do you remember in Tattva Bodha at the end when karmas are being talked about for a jnani? It is said that a jnani's sanchita karmas are all burnt away. Fine. A jnani's, what you call the agami karmas, which are going to accumulate by the karmas done now, they don't accumulate to him because he's doing all the karma with a akartritva bhava, so it does not accumulate. Whatever prarabdha that jnani's body is born with, that will complete itself, that will fulfill itself. That is what is said here. Then in Pratvabodha also it says, whatever punya a jnani's karmas accumulate, they will go to his devotees. You can open the Tattvabodha and see the last one or two verses. Those who respect, revere, worship this Atmagnya, not for the sake of miracles that he can perform, not for the sake that he can give you what you want, but with a true mind, with an absolute sincerity. If one worships this jnani, one can get his full desires fulfilled. That is what is told here. It is meant for a person who wants to get something in life. Therefore, here in the last verse, a Jivan Mukta Jnani is equated to Ishvara. Why equated? He is Ishvara. All of us are Ishvaras. But because of our Ajnana Avaranam, I do not know that consciousness behind this Jagat, that consciousness behind my Ishtadevata, and that consciousness which is me are one and the same. I don't know. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara are pervaded by the same consciousness. Therefore, there is no Jiva Jiva Bheda, no Jiva Ishvara Bheda, no Jiva Jagat Bheda, no Jagat Ishvara Bheda. This is what the Upanishads try to tell me. With this, the first section of the third Mundaka is over, and now we have come to the last section where we have about 11 verses, and with this, we'll be completing the Mundakopanishad. Now, again, the glories of this Vidya, this Jnanam, Atmajnanam, the glories of a Jnani, the one who knows this, who has not only understood but who has assimilated this knowledge. And again, a few of the sadhanas that are necessary to, sort of make oneself prepared for this knowledge. And at the end, the phalam of this knowledge. This is like a summary of all that has been talked about in all these previous chapters. So now we go to the third Mundaka, second section, the last section. Let's go to the mantra one. सवेदैतत्परमं ब्रह्मधाम यत्र विश्वं निहितं भाति शुभ्रम् उपासते पुरुषं हेह्यकामाः ते शुक्रं ये तद् अतिवर्तन्ति धीराः. So, what they say is, Saha. Saha means what? This jnani, the knower, Veda yetat paramam brahma dhama. The meaning of this is the knower, the one who understands this Brahman as the paramam dhama, the highest abode, the greatest abode, the paramarthika satyam, in which the entire jagat is woven. Mayi sarvam idam, he said, who? Lord Krishna. Mayi sarvam idam protam. In me, this consciousness, idam sarvam, this whole jagat, protam. Otam protam means it is Literally, the whole Jagat is woven into me. Okay, this whole world is placed. Yatra Vishwam Nihitam Bhati Shubhram. It is self revealing, it reveals itself as the light of consciousness. Jyotisham Jyotihi. We have seen that in Katopanishad. What is that Atma? It is Jyotisham Jyotihi. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agni tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. We saw that here also, in Mundaka also. We saw that in Katopanishad also. So what he says is, Saha, this Jivan Mukta, who knows Vedaha, yetat paramam brahma dhama. Paramam brahma dhama. The one who knows this highest paramarthika satyam, the highest abode, Paramam Brahma Dhamam. The word Dhama means what? The abode. Or abode here means it's not a place. It's not a physical place. The one who knows this Atman or this Brahman, Yatra, in which Vishwam Nihitam. This whole thing, this whole universe, Vishwam, is Nihitam. Sthula Prapancha, Sukshma Prapancha, Karana Prapancha, including the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira of every Jiva. Nihitam, what he says, Bhati Shubhram. It is self revealing. It reveals itself to a Sukshmaya, Agryaya, Buddhya, Grahitam. This Sukshma Buddhi, which we saw, Chetasa eva Veditavya, which we saw, it reveals itself. It clearly reveals and shines itself. There's no need for a jnani to look for it because he knows that he is the very embodiment of that light of consciousness. We are all the very embodiments of that Jyotisham Jyotihi. It is revealing itself constantly, all the time, Ahamasmi, Ahamasmi. But unfortunately, we are not able to understand this because our minds are gross and not subtle enough to see this pulsating presence of Atma as myself. Atma cannot, hide itself. Atma has to reveal itself because that's all pervading consciousness. Then, upasate purusham he akamaha. Previous verse was who? Bhutikamaha. Those who want things, those who want material benefits from the world, when they worship this Jivan Mukta, they get what they want, was told in the previous verse, the 10th verse, the last verse of the previous section. Now, what is being said here? Akamaha. Those who are not having any desires, those who are vairagis, those who have realized the futility of wanting more and more from the world, they are called as akamas. Therefore, upasate hi akamaha purusham. Okay, the people who are akamas, sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikaris, viveka vairagya shamadhi shatka sampatti Sahita mumukshuta, those who have these mumukshus, upasate purusham hehi akamaha, te shukram yetat ativartanti dhiraha, te dhiraha. Which dhiraha? These sadhana chatushtaya sampanna mumukshus are called as the dhiras here. When they surrender to this Jivan Mukta and when they worship this Jivan Mukta, Jnani, who's nothing but Ishvara, they, these akama means what? Without any desires, my only goal in life is moksha. I don't want anything else. This is a tivra mumukshatvam. So a person who has a tivra mumukshatvam surrenders to a jnani, te dhiraha, those mumukshus, shukram yetat ativartanti. They go beyond life and death. Shukram actually means bijam, human bijam, or a jiva's bija, which makes us come back again and again. But here it says Shukram yetat ativartanti. They leave once for all, in the sense they don't come back again. They don't fall into the trap of this samsara again and again. Coming and going, multiple lives, multiple deaths, multiple bodies, multiple relations, again and again, again and again. Some little sukha, then dukkha, all the time trying for something more, something more, something more. Not seeing that nothing, na tarpani vittena, na tarpani yo manusha, whatever I get, however much the whole universe belongs to me, I will not be happy. Vittena na tarpani yo manusha, said the 8-year-old Nachiketa in Katopanishad. Therefore, here, these people, dhiraha, are the people who are vivekis, who have understood that my ultimate destination or goal as a human life that I have got is moksha, to be free from coming back again and again. If somebody says, why not come back again and again? Why should I bother to leave? Then okay, Ayushman Bhava, Sukhi Bhava, that's all. Somebody asked this question to a guru. But Swamiji, I don't want to. Why should I go away and not come back at all? I don't mind coming back another millions of lives. So, what could the Guru say? The Guru said, Ayushman Bhava, Sukhi Bhava. That's all. Yeah, fine. Keep coming back again and again. But Adhira is the one who has realized the futility of this coming back again and again, the futility of material acquisitions, doing the same thing every life. Situations are different, places are different, bodies are different, but we are doing the same thing again. We are the same wanting people. I want, I want, I want. Wanting out of apurnatvam. And that is my story in every life. But as a dhira, this time, out of Viveka and Vairagya, I have decided. Who? The dhira has decided. No, I am no longer going to be caught in this cycle of births and deaths. He surrenders to a Brahmanishta Shrotriya Guru. Who is who? Who is a Jnanmukta. Upasate Purusham Yehi Akamaha Te Shukram Yetat Ativartanti. They are totally freed from this life. So this is Jivan Mukti also, Videha Mukti also. Videha Mukti means what? I don't come back again. The material necessary to build a new body is no longer there. The karmas are gone. Now, till the prarabdha of this body is there, I survive, but as a Jivan Mukta. As an Akarta, Abhokta, Jivan Mukta Jnani, I survive. And once this body goes, then I don't come back again at all. Then, continuing this, the Upanishad wants to say, why is it that we come back again and again? What is the reason why we keep coming back again and again into this life? He gives the answer in the next verse. The Upanishad Guru says that it is always that apurnatvam in me, because I don't realize that I'm Purna Atma. I'm the Purnatva Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. Ananda Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. Ananta Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. Iti I don't recognize. I don't realize. So there is always a Purnatvam in me, because world can only give so much, not more than that. Apurnatvam. Because of this apurnatvam, I can't stand this apurnatvam. I want purnatvam naturally, so I go on desiring. And this entire life, all the desires that I have desired, unfulfilled desires, they manifest at the time of death. And when I die, the strongest desire, unfulfilled desire in me, is that which directs my next body, directs where I'm going to be born again. So it is the driving desires that drive us from one body to another, from one life to another. That's what is being told here. Let's read this. Kamanyah kamayate manyamanaha sakamabhirjayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Kaman yah kamayate manyamanaha. Yaha, this ajnani, kaman, objects of desire, kamayate, goes on desiring, 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 not only in this life. I have unfulfilled desires from millions of life before, and now in this life I'm adding some more. Manyamanaha. Manyamana means constantly thinking of what I don't have and what I should have. Like a tambura shruti, all the time. I want, I want, I want. The what I want changes. But the fact that I want, I'm a wanting person. Wanting person. That is what gives us dukkha in life. If really, one must be happy, I must get out of this being this wanting person. That's the only thing which can give me happiness. Otherwise, wanting, wanting, wanting. All the time the mind is wanting. So kaman yaha kamayate manyamana. Always desiring for something or the other which I think will give me fulfillment, but which is very temporary fulfillment, after which my apurnatvam again restart. Saha kamabhir jayate tatra tatra. That is my trajectory. At the time of death, the strongest unfulfilled desires come in this mind. And this is the trajectory which takes this jiva, this traveling jiva, to embody into a body which can be born in such situations where I can complete or where I can fulfill my kamas. Kama bihi jayate tatra tatra. In those fields which are capable of fulfilling my desires, I am born in those places. That is how you see a 3-year-old child playing beautiful, you know, flute, or prodigies, all these child prodigies and all that, prodigy or prodigy anyway. you know what are they? Probably those people are so full of that art, and at the time of dying probably they have the deepest desire that I should continue this in my next life also, and they come back with that. Therefore it says that kamabhir jayate tatra tatra. Our desires decide where we go, where we are born, and which kind of a body we are born. That is why so much of importance is given to Vairagya in our scriptures. Whereas, Paryapta Kamasya Kritatmanastu, opposite, he's taking Paryapta Kamasya. The one who has understood Aham Atma Asmi, Aham Purnatva Swarupa Atma Asmi, Ananda Swarupa Ananta Atma Aham Asmi. I have no desires left. When I understand that, that is called as a Paryapta Kamaha. Such a person is called as a Paryapta Kamaha, for whom all the desires are as good as finished, or as good as, acquired. Really speaking, from whom all the desires have just fallen away. Paryapta Kamaha. When this jnani understands that I am the very Purnatva Swarupa Atma, everything belongs to me and nothing can really give me happiness. Everything in this life, all the vastus are only reflectors of my Swataha Ananda Swarupa Eva, nothing else. Such a person from whom this jnani, this Jnanmukta, from whom all the kamas, desires for fulfillment have dropped out, such a person is called as a Paryapta Kamaha. For such a person, Paryapta Kamasya Kritatmanastu. Who is he? is a Kritatma. Kritatma means what? The one who has understood what his real nature is. The one who has clearly understood Aham Brahma Asmi. This person is called as a Kritatmana, a Kritatma. Kritatma means what? I have understood my reality. There's no need for me to wait for any fulfillment from the objects of the world outside. Kritatmanastu paryapta kamasya ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Here and now, all the desires are gone, and there is nothing else remaining to direct my jiva somewhere else. So it seems some intelligent Ajnani asked a guru, saying that, okay, I will not, I will desire for material things and live a very materialistic life, but at the time of death, I will think of only moksha. I will not have any desires at the time of death. Then I would have, I would have achieved both. So I have achieved all my, material fulfillments also. I have achieved moksha also. So the Guru said, hey, whatever you are thinking all your life, only those thoughts are going to come to you when you die. What you have never thought of in your life, moksha, you have never thought of in your life. Even if you want it to come, it won't come because you are not in control of your mind at that time. That's why this word manya manaha is used in the first line. Manya manaha, constantly think. Whatever I'm constantly thinking of, that only comes at the time of death. How can suddenly I think of moksha and become a vairagi at the time of death? No. Therefore, he says, Paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu. Kritatmanaha tu, for this kritatma, who has realized and understood his swarupam as aham brahma swarupa eva, ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Again, a jivan mukti and videha mukti. The phalam of this knowledge is talked about. Then, next, in the third verse onwards, for another 2 3 verses, again the Upanishad Guru wants to talk about certain sadhanas. Jivan mukti and videha mukti were talked about in the previous section, 1 or 2 verses, and the first 2 verses in this section, in the last section. So let us see what is it that he wants to bring now, that that what are the sadhanas again, because this is the only life we have. We don't know what kind of a body will come with next time, what kind of a jiva, what kind of a situation we'll be. This life is there, this particular body is there, mumukshutvam is there. We are born in a situation, in the surroundings, in the culture of what this moksha is. We have an exposure to the shastra. We have such illustrious gurus who are guiding us. And if this life we don't complete this journey, we don't know where we'll be in the next life. When this suyoga for this kind of an opportunity will come again, we don't know. Therefore, don't waste this. That's what the Upanishad wants to say, and give a few more of the sadhanas which have already been talked about previously. We'll just read this verse and then maybe we will take it up next time. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyaha न मेधया न ब्रबहुना श्रुतेन यमेवैष वृणुते तेन लभ्यः तस्यैष आत्मा विवृणुते तनुं स्वाम. Here, the need for tivra mumukshutvam is talked about. Here it is said, without mumukshutvam, simply listening to somebody talking, nayam atma pravachanena labhyaha. This atma cannot be understood or seen by mere listening without mumukshutvam. If I go, to be seen in the right places, oh, thousands of people are attending that particular guru's lecture. Oh, he's coming to Bangalore, so I must also go and attend. Am I having the mumukshutvam, the real desire for? No. But because somebody is going, I'm also going. So by mere listening, without this commitment to learn, Atma na labhya. by mere listening without any commitment, without any mumukshutvam, it is not possible. Na medhaya na brahuna shrutena. I may be a scholar. I may have the intellect of a scholar. I would have read a lot. I would probably know all the four Vedas by heart. Chaturvedi. I may be a Chaturvedi or a Trivedi or a Dvivedi or whatever it is. I can literally reel out all the Vedic mantras, the scholarship I have, but that is also not sufficient. The scholarship becomes more of an ahankara for me, that is not sufficient. Yamevaisha vrinite tena labhyaha. Yam yeva yesha vrinite. The one who is a serious mumukshu, tivra mumukshutvam. I want to know who I am. I want to know why I am suffering. I must know this in this life. I must know the purpose of my life. I must do it. Tivra mumukshutvam is, of course, there are four there. In sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatka sampatti, and mumukshutvam. But in this verse, mumukshutvam is talked about. A sincere, serious commitment and desire for understanding what the Shastras say about myself, what the Shastras say about Ishvara, what the Shastras say about Jagat. So, yame vaisha varanute tena labhyaha. When I'm a Tivra Mumukshu, committing my time and life for this to such a person, only Atma reveals itself in its true nature. Means what? I understand my true nature. Yam yeva yesha vrinate tena labhya tasyaisha Atma vivrunate tanum swam. This Atma literally as though comes and stands in front of me. That means what? It reveals itself to me effortlessly. Of course, I have to put my effort. First thing is that I should be committed to this knowledge. I should be a Tivra Mumukshu. And then I should go to the extent of preparing myself, my intellect for this. Then I have to go through the Jnana Yoga of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Here, when it means Nayamatma Pravachanena Labhya, it does not mean that Shravanena na Labhya. No. Mere Shravanam without commitment to the Shastra and Guru, mere listening is not going to show me, not going to help me to understand this Atma. That is what is said here. Kevala pravachanena na labhyaha. That pravachana or that shravanam, it should be backed by tivra mumukshutvam. So, like in Viveka Chudamani, where mumukshutvam is given as the most important out of the four, because that is what gives me that power to go forward. When I have mumukshutvam, tivra mumukshutvam, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, shatka, sampatti, all of them follow automatically. Therefore, ye me vaisha vrinite tena labhyaha tasya to such a tivra mumukshu, yesha atma, I, my own swarupam, reveals itself. Vivranute tanum swam. It reveals itself. Look, this is what I am. That means what? I understand what I am. So with this, we will stop today's session. And I think in probably in the next two sessions, hopefully, because we have only 8 verses more. So and they are all repetition of the Jnana Phalam and Jnana, what you call as the glory of Jnanam, Vibhuti of Jnanam is being talked about. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत्